Okay, everyone, welcome to Warwick Zoom Garden Plot, Season 5, Episode number 6. And welcome, everybody. I'm going to look at tonight's agenda. Garden updates from Mark and from our community garden in Greenwood Lake. It's shimmy time, and we have a little quote here. There is nothing that is comparable to it, as satisfactory or as thrilling as gathering vegetables one has grown. Very true. From Alice E. Toklas.
Chad, I'm going to be walking back and forth because I have to bring groceries in. Is that okay?
Well, maybe I'll go first then.
Okay.
I think
Please turn off your camera so you don't make us dizzy.
I
You're walking
think
back
that
and
might
forth,
get in the way of your presentation, Mark, as you're walking back and forth and dropping off.
Okay. I'll try to do that.
All right, so we're going to go with you, Chad.
Oh, you're starting out with the showstoppers. Come on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is we really have some beautiful perennials growing that are just then that we do have your we have your pollinator sign too, Sally. You see, we have another pollinator sign before you came along. So we have three pollinator signs in the garden.
Chad.
But as you see, this amazing purple.
There is no real competition.
Yeah, no, there's no competition. You guys, yours is much better. This beautiful purple flower with the bumblebee in it is a cardoon that has flowered. I don't know if you know what a cardoon is. It's not native, but it is a perennial. And it has like these stalks, if you can see below the flower, and they're edible. They're I guess you would eat them after a frost, and you could cook them up. It's like an Italian delicacy, almost like artichoke type of tasting, I was told. But this is the first year they flowered, and it's just really gorgeous.
And which is the part that you eat, that lower part there?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really take the stalks, if you see them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I should look. I don't think you could eat this flower cone pot. You might be able to. I didn't really even research that.
Yeah.
Definitely looks like it's from the artichoke family.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
What kind of plant is it?
Cardoon.
Cardoon?
Yes. And then
It looks like a
year,
big thistle. Is it in the thistle family? It looks like a huge thistle.
could be, but I know it's cardoon, but I don't know what family it's in. Then next to it we have bee balm growing very beautifully. And then I just found out today those are edible, those flowers.
Ah. Did not know that.
Going to next. And that's a different color bee balm. We have pink and red. And they really are doing their job. Oh, and this one, and then there's another beautiful purple one I took, and I'm really bad at remembering the name. It's like
Gay feather.
What?
I think it's called
Liatris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of this because this I actually started from seed. That was the only thing that I grew from seed that succeeded as far as pollinators go.
Very good.
I have a very strong attachment to this. This is like the second or third year, and it's really shot up, and it's beautiful purple color, and tons of bees are all around it. So it's and this is all surrounding the garden.
Nice.
All right.
Just the other day, we were looking at some Liatris in our front yard, and we were saying, what is that? It was one of the things that the previous owner planted. So we bought the house 10 years ago. So that's been here at least 10 years. So go Liatris.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you see, our tomato are growing really great, and that trellising idea is working fantastically. As we have like a little pulley, and as they go higher, we just attach them, and I probably should do a better job at maybe cleaning at the bottom a little bit to let more air in. And
you actually pull the trolley to make them go up? Is that how it works?
Well, that's how I thought, but Gillian has insisted that we basically tie on, like we have these little clips that go onto it. So just really, we attach I think you could probably do either way, but right now we have the pulleys there and we attach clips as they go up. So I'm not arguing. Gillian's our master builder, and whatever she says goes.
Dad, should I mention you need to be pruning those tomatoes?
Yeah, that's what I just said. I'm pretty bad at, I probably should be pruning them, but.
Pruning.
Oh, yes.
No, I'm a pruner. Someone on here tonight is not a pruner.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't prune.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Like I've watched YouTube. There's totally different schools of thought. Some people like pill every suckers, do this and that, and then other people like
Let it all hang out.
so. And then even interspersed, you can't see that well. There's a lot of basil growing in the shadow of the tomatoes. They're doing very well. Then this other bed we have okra growing,
Oh,
and then with all these beds, I literally pulled out 100 volunteer tomatoes,
Mm-hmm.
and then I pull out a little bit more, and then by the time the third wave comes, I don't have the heart to pull them out anymore. And then of course every bed now has tomatoes somewhere in there, and I was trying to be all organized, but I somehow just like I feel Mother Nature's giving us such a gift, I cannot yank them out. So I'm totally making the beds look chaotic and crazy, but that's my own personal demon that I can't pull out these little volunteers.
so Chad, I don't know if you can see my cursor, can you?
Yes.
Okay, is that the okra?
It's
Down
no, it's the bigger leaves next to where you are.
Oh, here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And they're
I've
right.
never seen it growing before, so I didn't know.
Yeah, it's growing very well. But again, as you see, there's definitely have other stuff growing. And there's some dill mixed in there, the nasturtiums kind of mixed in. Yeah, I do very dense planting. You go to the next slides. Oklahoma, Michael made a little joke for people in listening to us. Then that's a pawpaw growing, as Sarah knows how the
Yeah,
full
that's
grown
doing
ones
really
look.
well.
I know it's funny. This is like the third year. It's going very slowly. Like we had this for 3 years. And then you can see all this in front of it is all calendula. That's all volunteer. I didn't plant. I haven't planted calendula for 2 years, and again I pulled some out, and then I just can't. Then they just keep coming, and they
More
look pretty.
tomatoes.
And then we have a potato tower next to the pawpaw that's doing well. You know, I put layers of potatoes and straw, and I laid them up, and then they're growing out. Probably should. I don't know if I took a closer picture, but they're kind of growing out from all sides. So this is my first year trying it. I'm hoping it will go well. The other picture is eggplant growing in really nicely.
And the cages are for what reason?
Well, just to help the support, you know. And
Okay.
as they grow up, and actually we had someone donate a lot of them, and I feel they were really making sure. They kept on saying, "How's the supports doing?" So I make sure I put probably extra supports in just to say, "Here we go, we're using your supports." But yeah, I don't know. Eggplants probably don't need them that much, but I figured can't help but help. You know, helps out.
Yeah.
All right, the next. Then this is a lot of kale, and I usually I cover that with a white stuff just because it doesn't allow that much sunlight, and the critters get it. But the critters they were getting it early on, but now they're backing off a little bit. And then I have the other one is a big dill that just it's going to seed, and in front of it some more kale, and what comes up every year, we're gonna have a bunch of ground nuts that come, I guess, also volunteers. So I could see them coming all around. Oh, there's your sign. You see your sign there, Sally? See, we have
Yeah,
it. See,
yep, beautiful.
and then
Yeah,
you can see,
do you have the netting for the kale for the cabbage moss?
yeah, the cabbage
Okay.
moths, and also for the sun.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And then, as you can see from the back of that dill thing, you can see that I can never say what's that pretty purple flower I have again?
Liatris.
Yeah, you see how they look nice and tall and pretty. You can see them in their full glory. All right,
What-
and then
Chad,
yes,
what is a white flower? It's been in a couple, is it like Queen Anne's lace? It's been in a
Yeah.
couple of,
and that's also I usually pull them, but I usually leave them while they're flowering because it seems like the bees really love them.
yeah.
But I will pull them eventually before they seed, but they are popping up randomly everywhere. Then we have a bunch of zucchini that's doing very well. I should have probably taken a closer shot, but there wasn't really that many zucchinis because we just harvested like 5 or 6. But there's more coming. And in front of that, you see we have the strawberry bed that is in between producing strawberries.
Mhm.
And then we have the cucumbers growing up. Someone made a nice little archway out of a cow panel.
Mhm.
So we're letting the cucumbers go up that, but I should have taken a farther shot so you could see the pretty arch.
Hmm.
Now we go next. Oh, well, look, unless you guys have questions, I'm just, because I know Mark has a lot of pictures as well. These are beans, bush beans that we just harvested. Again, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of growing beans. I love them, but then, you know, and Sarah grows a much larger variety. But I do find that even if I pick like 100 beans, that's like a meal. It's like a, you know, maybe a dinner and a half. You know, like it doesn't, and it's also in a community garden. It's, you know, because if you have 6 people there, you know, unless you have like 8,000 beans, it's not that. But again, these were purple ones. I should have taken a picture. They're very pretty. The next shot is you can see.
Why not do pole beans then? Then you'll have lots of beans all summer long for everybody. Pole beans, much
We
more
do.
productive
I
than the
usually
bush
do
beans.
again, even with the pole beans, we had those and it was great. And I picked them and I had a bunch of bags full. And then by the time I chop the ends off and do this, you know, I think it's going to be like 12 meals. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's like two meals. But again, it is nice. I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't,
You know,
sometimes-
Chad, they grow pretty fast, so I put them in succession. And
Yeah.
then they're, you know, the first planting we're harvesting, and then there's 2 more plantings coming along now, and they're different varieties.
Yeah, I have to be better at the succession, like Bill, and you know, I just sometimes I have like, oh, all right, I need a little break. Then we have here's the compost bin that's doing very well. These are the buckets that we also leave at the farmers market. And these were really big piles, and now they've become smaller piles. They just kind of break down on their own.
Mhm.
And next,
Is that your spiral
oh
garden?
yeah, oh yes,
program?
yeah, that's an herb spiral. I probably should have taken a closer picture.
Okay.
We have a lavender, thyme, bay leaf,
Nice.
salad bonnet in there, chives. Right, herb spiral is a
Nice.
really cool way of like you could grow a lot in a small space. Like if you unspiral that, that'd probably be, you know, 30, 40 feet. So I just
Wow.
want to show that permaculture technique.
And
But
you still
it
have
also
some
starts sinking. You know, it was much prettier, but it also, just like everything else, it breaks down and starts sinking.
Yeah.
you still have a few bags of leaves from last autumn. That's nice.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny, like everyone's like, oh, you're crazy with all these leaves, but like but now that I'm starting to use them, we won't even have enough. Like, you know, really you need a lot of leaves to add to the compost. This is
Yeah.
an artichoke.
I see it.
It's growing for the this will be my first year, hopefully, of actually growing an artichoke. Then this is our keyhole bed we made. That's obviously
Nice.
exploding. Then nasturtiums is doing fantastic,
Hmm.
and we have tomato and everything in there. And I probably should have taken a better shot. Behind there. There's a gate that you could drop compost directly into it. So
That's cool.
you know, this should get more and more rich as the years go on. And I have not watered it yet, so it
Yeah.
seems to hold the water a lot longer.
Wow.
All right. This is this is grapes, native grapes growing along our fence. They're looking really beautiful.
What kind of grapes?
I know, I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Like Concord or table grapes?
Probably. They are native ones I got from the
Oh, okay.
Midsummer Farms, but they are growing nicely. But they were covered with a lot of lantern, little baby ones. They're quite pretty, and they're very hard to get rid of because they hop and jump away when you go next to them. This is our hoop house that we started all our seeds, which of course, again, I pulled out all the tomatoes that were coming in volunteering, and then I did it again. And now these are all volunteer tomatoes that I didn't plant.
Wow.
And then again, I gave up. I'm like, all right, just grow. And then I
Wow.
did plant eggplant though. So I figured that would like the heat.
Hmm.
But I'm very, yes. So obviously we're gonna have a lot of tomatoes that's coming out. And next, I don't know if that's it or oh, I did take it. And that's in the front of the garden we have Joe Pye weed, which is, you know, we try to put some nice flashy stuff in the front because we're in a residential street, so that's a little bit tricky for us because sometimes the neighbors aren't the biggest fans of ours. So we're trying to make
How do the neighbors feel these days?
I think they would be happy if we left, but they don't seem to be bothering us, dealing with us that, because again, we just come, 5, 6 of us, we water the garden, again, in the beginning it was very chaotic, but for some reason they don't seem to really appreciate the garden, which is a little bit sad. Because again, our garden is free and it's open to everyone. So I tell these guys, go in, harvest whenever you want, and they just kind of give me a look and they say thank you. And
Really? That's so weird.
yeah, I don't get it. I
Yeah.
mean, they're very, old school kind of people. This is a sunflower, which hasn't fully grown yet, but hopefully in the next week or so should be showing its head.
And that's more of your grapes over there?
Yeah, that's grapes behind it. Yeah.
Do you do anything with the leaves?
Oh, I probably should, right?
Yeah, you can make those Greek
I
rolled
know,
up
it's a good
things.
brand.
Yeah,
Sometimes, you get so caught up, you forget about I'm like, yeah, grape leaves.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. And then this is just a wider shot of the front with a butterfly, bee balm, and you can see those giant black-eyed Susans. Those are really impressive.
Yeah.
And it's covered. It's funny. I covered the whole front and side with cardboard and wood chips twice, but nature is just like insane. Like it just breaks down and nature will come through it. So I need to do that again. So it's just like nonstop. Like as many times as I could smother it, it like comes back. So nature is amazing.
What do you have in the raised container bed?
And those aren't doing that great because it's such a small bed that you have to water it like every day, otherwise
Yeah.
it dries out. And I should probably take a close up because they are labeled, but I cannot tell you. Sonia Mason takes care of all this stuff, and I pretty much do the edible stuff. But
Gotcha.
and I've taken.
Is it herbs?
I think so. I think it's like smaller pollinators, and I've taken plant ID courses and I have a degree, but I can't remember any. I just did enough to pass the test, and then I forgot every name. I took a tree ID course, a plant ID course, so I'm very bad. I think that's it, right? Or
That's it. Yep.
thank
Yep.
you all. Any questions or
I think it looks great. I don't know why anyone on your street would complain.
I know. Well,
It's
hopefully
like-
you're gonna visit soon, right, Mark? You promise?
Absolutely,
right.
absolutely. I mean, it looks great, but there's always somebody, there's always somebody going to complain, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes life interesting.
So, all right, take over.
All right, Mark, we're
Oh.
starting with your vacation picture.
All right, so I just got back from this location. Can anyone guess where it is?
I can.
Where? Okay,
Go ahead.
okay, go. What's your guess?
Mark, it's me, Lynn. It's not a
Oh,
guess.
Lynn. it's
I know where
Okay,
you
excuse
were.
me.
Ah,
Okay,
see?
then you're disqualified, Lynn. That's my friend, my gardening neighbor, Lynn from the Montgomery Community Garden. Anybody else?
Is it
I would-
Quebec City?
What's that?
Oh, I'm just seeing Quebec urban.
Yes, Quebec. That's it.
That's
I-
it. It
I went to-
reminded me of Tuscany a little bit.
It was so beautiful. That's the lower old city looking up to the Hotel Frontenac. We went there from Tuesday. We left Tuesday, got back Saturday. Went with my daughter and her boyfriend. Beautiful weather, beautiful place. I guess I'm getting paid for tourism for Quebec, but I would highly recommend it to anybody. It's like going to Europe without having to fly. It was so good. So
Beautiful.
anyway, so yeah, that's where I was. And Lynn, my gardening neighbor that took care of my garden. Thank you very much, Lynn. So the
You're
first
welcome.
picture is my potato harvest this year, part of it. A little disappointed because the russets are very, very small. The blue and the red ones, the picture on the left, those are okay, but the russets on the right, they're mixed in with some blues. They were really tiny this year, and I don't know what happened. Last year I had huge russets. This year I don't. I really can't figure it out. I'm not sure if I didn't water enough. The plants looked healthy, and they didn't die early. I did plant them a little bit late though, because what I did was I was trying to stretch the seeds. So I cut the seeds instead of using whole seeds, and I dusted them with sulfur. And instead of letting them dry out, I just stuck them in the ground, and most of them, except for one, died. So I had to replant them. So I had probably had a 2 or 3 week delay. So that might have been the cause of it. I had potato beetles, but we were pretty diligent in picking them off. So I don't think that was the cause of it. So anyway, they're still good. They're good eating even if they're small. No big deal.
Well, I
It
mean,
is-
this has been such a wild year between the
Mm.
heat and the rain, and it's
yeah.
crazy.
But then, sometimes every year you get a winner and a loser. So they're like in between, I say, because some of them were good, some of them weren't. So the next picture, please, Christy.
Yep.
And let's see. I got all my groceries away so I can sit down. Some of it was had to go in the fridge. That's why I couldn't hold off. Okay, so the picture on the left and the picture on the right are both my plot, one of my plots. And the picture on the left, let's take that. That's beds of marigold. The raised bed I planted, Lynn gave me some potato seeds. I planted them very late, so I'll probably get either new potatoes or very late potatoes. We'll see how it goes. The bed next to that had clover. I turned it into the soil, and you can see my paths. I'm doing clover in my paths this year. So once every 2 or 3 weeks, I get out a handheld scythe or weed whacker and just whack them down. I rake it up and I throw it on as mulch. I use it as mulch. Looking down, you can see at the very end there's a mint plant, and in the middle there's some comfrey with some roses, and I'll have better pictures. But in the far distance, there's a little herb place, so a little herb raised bed. The picture on the right shows that bed that had the clover in it that I put the clover and turned over, and then those are my onions. My onions did well this year. I really haven't had a failure with onions. Year that I had a failure with leeks because of the allium leaf miner, but I'm pretty steady with the onions. I'm pretty good with them. So that, and the mint plant is in the corner of the raised bed. That's just in a potted container. On the left, next picture on the left, same plot. That's my herbs. In the middle, there's a rosemary where the water bottle is, and it's surrounded by mostly basil. There's a little bit of thyme in there. There's a marjoram. There's a boxwood, and off in the far left, far right. I'm sorry, is some oregano and some pineapple mint. And there's a tarragon plant. Actually, you can see them better in the other frame. And then on the left side is where the rose bush is. I have some black-eyed Susans, and I have the comfrey in the middle. And then you can see, instead of putting down shredded wood chips, I'm having a living mulch, a living pathway. So picture on the right shows that the tarragon is starting to yellow up. It's French tarragon. That happens every year. It grows, it yellows up, it puts out a second flush of growth, and then it dies for the winter. And then to the right of that, you can see the wands of the lavender, and in the forefront where the water bottle is, I have my mint surrounded by a little bit of dill. And in the far away shot, you can see my onions, and that's about it for that plot. So let's see. The next picture would be that should be another. Okay, so this is my second plot. Here is where those holes were, where it looks like a woodchuck or a golfer went through. That's where I dug up the potatoes. That big wall of plants, crackerjack marigolds, I'm using them kind of like as a cover crop and just as like a mass planting. And at either end I have pole beans, which I'm like a disappointed this year because I've grown pole beans before and I'm not getting many beans off of them. I mean, there's flowers, but I'm not seeing any beans. So I don't know. Worst comes to worst, I'll just plow it under and help the soil, but I'm not seeing much. And in the far distance behind there, I have 4 plants I bought from the local shop, right? Bonnie Plants, and they're doing pretty well. Down on the right is another shot of the potato beds. You can see those ones I haven't dug up yet, but they're basically shot. I'm going to dig them up, and then you can see on the right side, you can see the wall of marigolds with a stray dill plant in there.
Nice.
And let's see. I think that's it for this. I may have another shot. Oh, okay. So this is the third plot. This is my neighbor's plot. We share it together. I do most of the work, but she helps out not really that much, to be honest. But it's okay. I don't mind doing the work. Anyway, this is where we have tomatoes. Oh, and if you look in the far lower corner there, of the first picture on the right, where those wooden stakes are, that's Lynn's plot. That's my friend Lynn's plot. So, and a little shout out to Lynn. She's got a little marigold, some peppers, and and looks like potato plant. So we border. She took a half a plot. She has a 10 by 10, and this plot's a 20 by 20. And this is where I have eight tomato plants. And I'm with Chad. I don't trim anything. I let it all grow out, whatever, you know. I just and I have fights with them. We literally have fights. She wants me to prune, and I don't want to prune, and we go at it.
Not a hard prune, just a little haircut.
I'm like, no, don't touch my
Little bitty.
So we have
Colorful conversations.
intense discussions on it.
Colorful
Mark, why don't you
conversations.
compromise? Why don't you do one?
That
you know
was
what?
my idea. Try one plant.
That's what Lynn says, and I always say yes, and then at the end I chicken out. So
All right, well, gotta compromise.
you're right. You're right. So that's basically the tomatoes in the cages. And the tomatoes this year. I bought them down in this place in Jersey. I think I sent it out in one of the chats. They weren't big the plants, but they turn into amazing plants. And the varieties you can get like 100. There's like 180 or 200 varieties. So it's really good varieties. I'm pretty happy with the plants the way they turned out. On the right is I think it's called holly basil. I got it at the tomato place as well. It's like an Indian type basil. It's got a weird smell to it. I love it, but it's more like a minty camphor basil-y smell. So I don't know if you can eat it, but I love just picking some leaves and smushing them up and smelling them. So it's like and then you can see one of the peppers I bought there, and then one of the squash plants. And I've been having a hard time with boars. The whole garden has a lot of people have boars. We've had a lot of boars in the garden this year. So, you know, you'll get a squash plant, it'll put out maybe 5, 6, 7 zucchini, and then you go there the next day, it's collapsed, and you know, it's gone as they dig it up and throw it out, start a new one. And I've been opening them up, and there's tons of boars in them. So, okay, so the next slide. Okay, so that's a close up on one of the tomatoes I got. It's a French or Italian. It's a flat tomato with a lot of ribbing. It's I wish I remembered the name. It's Genovese Constellato or something like that. I don't know if that makes sense, but plant's kind of weird. It's not really very leafy, but it's got these really nice ribbed tomatoes. It's supposedly very good tasting. And then on the right hand side, you can see where my peppers are surrounding the holly basil, and then you can see where two of the squash hills I already dug up because they collapsed, and those two are probably going to collapse when the boars get to them. And then the rest is just the tomatoes. That's just another angle. And actually, in the distance, just past that is where Lynn's garden is. And Lynn keeps a really nice garden. Her garden is meticulous, beautifully kept. She sees she's very, very good with it, very beautifully kept garden. So anyway, I was having the other thing too, I was having a lot of problems with my peppers with the Asiatic garden beetles. I don't know if you've had them in the garden. They look, if you dig the soil, they look like coffee beans. They're beetles that look like coffee beans. They come out at night, and they're just as bad as Japanese beetles. They were tearing up my pepper plants. I finally put some neem oil and some spinosad on it, and it seems to be doing the trick. It's slowing them down so the plants can grow. But they were tearing everyone's garden up. I mean, people would go there, and people's peppers and sunflowers and flowers are just getting eaten up by them. The hornworms aren't bad this year. I haven't seen one hornworm. So, okay, I think
Mark,
that's
when you use the neem oil, do you put it right on the leaves, or how do you treat it?
Yeah, what I've read the directions, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to spray the leaves till it drips, and then the insects, these beetles eat the leaves, and what they do is they eat the leaves with the neem oil and they ingest it, and then it's supposed to be like hormonal. It stops them from eating, and then they just don't molt. They can't grow and they die. I'm not sure if they can't molt, but it stops them from eating, and then they eventually just don't have an appetite, and they eventually die. So, but I'm finding it's pretty effective because I've sprayed it a couple times, and the plants are putting out growth, and it's not getting quite as eaten. So I think I'll win in the end.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I've been using it too. And tons of fruit. The peppers are beautiful, but the leaves the foliage looks horrible.
yeah, it gets like
Getting better though. It's getting better.
actually, this is a good example on this picture. This is the other plot with I had with the Cracker Jack. That's my cucumber in front, and then you can see the beans, and I have 4 tomato plants in this plot. But if you that's not a plot, but you can see the sunflower. You see how it's torn to shreds?
Yeah.
It's from the beetle. The beetles have been tearing the
Wow.
sunflowers and the peppers to shreds. I mean, you go out there and it looks like somebody went there with a knife and just, or machete, and just tore through the leaves. And that's a sunflower. That's probably a 5-6 foot sunflower, and they just eat it. And the thing is, they come out at night, so you can't spray them with something like a contact because you'll never see them. But if you dig into the soil, you'll see like tons of these little. They look like coffee beans. They're little beetles, and they hide in the soil during the day, come out at night. So our whole garden seems. The problem with our community garden is a lot of individual plots, and it's a good sized garden. We have 20 by we have about 60 20 by 20 plots, so it's a lot of plots. And when anybody gets a disease or an insect, it goes through the whole garden. Like everyone gets it. So if one person gets it, everyone gets it. So, and this year it seems to be these beetles. So.
But I left this picture full, for the full screen because I just thought it was so beautiful with
Yeah,
the
very nice.
sun.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
yeah. That's
sunset,
actually
is that?
Yeah, that's looking like northwest, like into the hills, just outside of the village. That's in a valley. That the river, the Wallkill goes right by there, and then that's
Okay.
where there's a hill there. And you guys should come visit anytime you're out in the area. Just throw me a line, and I'll run out there and show you. That's in Benedict Park, which is just off 17K, and it's absolutely beautiful. The whole area. It's a really nice area, and the garden's beautiful, and it's a
Yeah,
nice
it
place
looks
to be.
It
Yeah.
looks it. Very nice. All right, shall we shimmy?
Yep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. We're going to do our shimmy in place because we've been sitting around and stiff, even though Mark has been doing groceries, hasn't been sitting all day, but we could still take a moment. You could turn your camera off if you wish, or do whatever, and we'll see you in a moment.
Sammy, no barking. You barking at it. Sammy. You good dog. Sammy. Sammy. Sammy.
All right, welcome back from our shimmy. We have some announcements. Well, okay, we're gonna be the 26th because I think normally we do that's fine.
No, we can do it whenever you want. I thought it was going to be this whatever it was, the 4th. No?
I think it's usually the 2nd.
Yeah, but I know, but it's the 4th now. So that would only make
Right,
it
but
2
well, we
weeks.
just did that because I was
Yeah.
I couldn't make it or something.
Well,
But-
whatever you want it to be, I will make it. It's up to you.
Well, what do you guys say? 12th or 26th? I will say that for now. You'll get our emails to update you. Then we have something really great this Sunday coming up. If anyone hasn't signed up for it, it's really a lot of fun. It's a dirt kitchen garden tour, and you could sign up and go see gardens all over Warwick and West Milford and Greenwood Lake, and whoever signs up for it, it's a great tour. So it's a lot of, and then even at the end also, or if you have a great garden, you could sign your garden up for it. Like our community garden will be part of it. Sorry, you're not doing that, right?
No,
Yeah, you have to stay.
Harvard-
You have to stay there all day. It's a pain in the butt.
we did a lot of, building of things this year and working on the orchard. No one was up for getting ready for that.
But it is a lot of fun if you just want to go. And then at night there's a little celebration over
Right.
in Chester where you have. It's really great.
It's nice to see the different gardens.
Yeah, I wish I have to stay by our garden, but I do miss seeing the other
Right.
gardens. Then every Thursday night, our garden and the Common Ground Community Garden, we do a crop swap, which if anyone has any extra produce they need, they could come and share it. You know, that's the idea. People bring, if all of a sudden you have extra cucumbers, you know how it goes. You have no cucumbers, then all of a sudden you have 10. And so that's something we really want to make a little tradition of. Thursday evening, 6:30 to 7:30 through the end of September. And then, oh wait, did anyone go to that pollinator thing on Sunday?
I really wanted to, but I had to catch up on my yard.
Sally,
Sally,
Christy,
how'd it
no?
go?
I'm sure Michael had to leave, but I'm sure he was there. But you know,
Well,
the
Sally-
pollinator. Oh, sorry.
Sally would know.
Oh,
How'd it go,
Sally.
Sally? You're muted, hon.
Yeah, we had 23 people show up.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
circulated a clipboard and asked everybody how they heard about it, and it actually everyone found out about it from the Warwick Advertiser article.
Great.
They put it on the front page, which helped a lot. And Pam brought her plants and set them up under under the pavilion, and she had some really good plant sales afterward. It was very well received. We
Oh,
sold
I know.
four of our signs.
I had to work. I was
Right.
very upset, but I'm glad that went well. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then we're also in the pollinator pathway is in removing invasive plants in Mountain Lake Park on Tuesday, starting at 8 a.m. Everyone's welcome. I helped out one time. It's tough. Some of these things are really dug in there, but they have some good equipment to help out. Bill had this really good cutting tool. So, you know, we have a lot of stuff going on, and if anyone has any announcements that they have, you know, always let us know. If you have any workshops or any great classes you know about, please tell us.
Yeah.
All right, here's the question we have. Maggots in your compost, is that bad or helpful? And what do you do to get rid of them?
Anybody got experience with that?
I should know this again. I do run the compost by us, and I do have a certificate from a program. I think I've not seen maggots in there, but I would probably think that maybe everything's getting a little too wet in the compost,
Yeah.
like too moist. So I would aerate it and add a lot of browns personally.
Or
Yes, right.
maybe they have meat or something in there, like something they shouldn't. Like
That was my first thought. It's my son-in-law's compost, and he's got one of those black bins that that Ermin was selling. And he went out there at night to put some stuff in and reached his hand in to move some things around, and all of a sudden he realized he was hearing this crunching noise. And he put the phone light, down in there. It was like, eek!
I think
Well,
I
yeah.
would I would cut my
I would
hand
say
off
in the
and
future,
take-
don't I wouldn't put my hand into the middle of the compost.
Definitely not.
Oh.
Yeah,
Definitely
that
not.
wasn't a good
No,
idea.
But
Drop it
no,
in
he
there
said
and cover it.
it's only been vegetable scraps and yard, cuttings and things like that. So I looked it up, and apparently if it's too wet, you were right about that. If it's too wet and you're not adding enough browns
Yeah,
or aerating it enough,
yeah.
stirring it up a little bit. So I told him that,
Good.
and apparently if you want to get rid of them, you can use a small amount of lime, but they also said a couple tablespoons per, I'm trying to remember what the quantity was. Anyway, some vinegar. Vinegar, and mix it in. That will deter them from laying more eggs, the flies. And but that they actually are going to enhance your compost because it's gonna break down faster because of them.
Yeah, I mean,
So, you know,
especially
so that's a
with those
plus.
black bins, I would just let it go.
Yeah,
And tell that, don't count on getting those things for about a year. Like that, a year plus. So I know we
Yeah.
all roll in a hurry, but especially when you have a smaller pile.
yeah, yeah,
That's why I don't even really examine that much. I don't worry about it because I know whatever's in there now. You could aerate it. You can do the. I wouldn't add stuff to it like vinegar, and because then again, it's going to be, by the time you're going to ever do something with it, it's going to be a year later and going to be much, it's going to be broken
Right.
down to a much higher level. So
right.
if it is interesting if you just want to do it for science sake or whatever. If you want to check the compost during the process, and you're going to see all types of critters and
Hmm.
incredible, you could take a microscope and see a million incredible things.
But what
But
about the flies? Is he worried about the flies?
Yeah,
Like,
he was a little concerned about that there would be an abundance of them, more than usual. So what he's going to do is what this article I found said. I don't know if he's going to do the vinegar, but he was going to basically try to limit it and
yeah,
by the browns and not so wet.
right. And you have
He's
to also
new,
realize,
so
depending how much they're eating, you might be putting they might need a bigger system or share, because I don't know if there's 4 of you and you're pouring in 2 buckets a day,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
not enough browns you could even have.
exactly,
So
exactly. I don't think he's putting in that much, but yeah. Okay, I just wondered
I
if
always,
anybody else had experience with it.
and
I always
realize it's
throw
going to
in
take, to realize it's a long process.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I always throw in like newspaper and toilet rolls and like the cardboard and toilet and hand towel rolls and
okay,
maybe take a box. You get a box from Amazon. You cut all the labels off and all the
Yeah, any
and just
brown, but right,
throw the
any brown,
cardboard
anything
in
that's
it.
dry,
Yeah,
right.
leaves, cardboard, like Mark was saying.
Newspaper or whatever, yeah.
yeah, just to dry it up.
Yeah,
If
I would
that's
try
the
that
case.
first, right? Aerate it, put some browns in, and then kind of wait, see what happens. That should
Okay.
fix it.
I get rid of them just because they're disgusting.
Well, that's the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, if you were a bird, you would think it was Thanksgiving, but otherwise,
Ugh. I don't mind like worms, but maggots are
I
just
know
like,
there's something about them. I agree.
and I'm telling you, if I stuck my hand in and it came out with maggots, I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
contemplate getting a saw and cutting my hand off and
Yes,
saying, "You can have the rest."
definitely don't put your hand in there. Don't put your
I don't
hand
want.
into the middle of compost.
I don't want it anymore. Oh,
Wait, so before I go to the weather, anyone else have any questions or comments or anything?
I got a question. My tomatoes are really really good this year. So is everyone's tomatoes good this year?
Mhm.
Am I just am I lucky? Last year I didn't have such a good crop, but this year it seems like they're really strong.
What about you?
I've got mine in containers on my deck, and they're cherry tomatoes, and they're so heavy with it. It's terrific.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good year for them.
Yeah, it looks like they're coming in good.
No, they are. The cherry tomatoes, we just started getting some of them ripening, and the larger tomatoes, I mean, there'll be a few more weeks, but well, yeah, tomatoes like hot and they like rain, so
Yeah.
So
far
far,
so good.
yeah.
So we see everyone talking about the weather. I guess we're having a rainy week, it looks like,
Oh,
from this.
God. Who's sick
Saturday?
of humidity?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at least there's no 90s in there, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, when I was away in London, I heard it was really hot here.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going to Iceland in a couple of weeks, so the weather up there is supposed to be like the highs are in the mid 50s, so it's going to be like a preview of fall.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, how big are you have, how many plots did you said you had in your community garden, Mark?
Oh, me? I have I have one 20 by 30, then we get a second 20 by 30, and then my neighbor, who I do most of the work for her and help her out, she has a 20 by 20. So that's 20 by 20 by 30s and a 20 by 20. So it's a lot. Plus I got a 25 by 25 at home, which I kind of neglect. Because
I know.
because the deer, I can't, the deer eat everything, so I can't put
My
anything.
backyard is the worst. I never spend any time.
Yeah, my garden. Yeah, I put all my time in the garden, and I don't even take care of I have to change all my foundation plants out, and that. I'll get to it eventually. I guess when I retire, I'll have more time.
So, and also remember, Sally is we should always show you a little pollinator signs on these Zoom garden plots. If you're ever interested, you can contact us, or we'll let Sally know. But they made some really beautiful ones.
Thank you.
Yeah, they look really nice.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Mark, I got a question. Are you happy with the way the clover has worked for you, filling in your pathways?
Yes, it's good, but it's not as low maintenance as I thought, because the clover tends to like spread and it wants to go into those beds where like have the pathways and then the beds. I'm constantly just yanking, and you can yank it out. It grows like it'll just go right back. But I'm constantly going in there and like, oh, it's going in the bed and yanking it out, and then I just throw it into by the tomatoes, and it dries up, and it acts like a really good mulch. But it's more work than I thought, and you got to be on top of it, because if not, like if I let it go through 6 months, the whole thing will be clover. So it's good in a way, it's bad in a way, but it looks nice.
It does.
And it's kind of different, and it's enriching the soil, but you got to really be diligent, because it grows. This is white clover. That's white clover. It grows fast. It really grows fast.
It just looks lush, like you want to walk barefoot in it. It looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate the work that it's causing you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. The only thing I'm worried about is last time I tried this in another plot, I did half the plot. I got a lot of voles in the winter, because the voles love to just eat that stuff and burrow into it, and I got an overpopulation of voles. So I'm a little worried about that, but we have a lot of voles in our garden, the community garden. So I don't know if it's going to help or hurt. One year they were overrun, and then the next, I think they go through population explosions and then collapses. So a couple of years ago we had an explosion, and then it collapsed. But the thing with the voles in our garden is, just really quick, is when our tomatoes come in and they're low on the ground, anything low to the ground that the vole can get, it'll eat. So you don't get those first ones unless you pick them when they're not really red. And once it gets above a certain, like maybe 6 inches, they won't go up that high.
The chipmunks get in the tomatoes. Because I was having all of our bottoms and they always take one bite out. And finally one day I came over there, and it was before anyone was there, and I wasn't in there yet, and I look in and I see the little critter scurrying around, because the squirrels too, but those chipmunks are vicious.
Yeah. I only have a few planters on my deck. They're big, but I can watch them from the dining room. The chipmunks are a scream, but they're also annoying, and they'll pull off a strawberry or a tomato. They'll take one bite, and then or a couple of bites, and they leave it. And it's like, oh, come on.
I know. It's like, just eat the whole thing, right?
Eat the whole thing. You won't have to touch the other ones.
We're lucky. We have a cat colony at our community garden in the back. So they help us with all the critters. Like, you don't see any chipmunk, squirrels, or anything.
Oh, that's great. Good.
They don't get in the gate, but they go around the whole area.
Yeah,
we used to have a hawk that flew around, but the hawk doesn't. We used to have like hawks in the garden, or 1 or 2 hawks. They kind of took care of the voles and the chipmunks, but nobody's seen the hawk. Maybe it moved on to better. Maybe they just ate it. It ate all the voles, and now there's no more voles to eat, so it moved on. So we'll see. But we have the same thing. You'll see the tomatoes. They'll just be like 1 or 2 bites out of them. They'll eat they are annoying.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for another great episode, and we'll let you know as of now it's the 26th. But if we move it up, we'll send you guys an email. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And hopefully we'll see you soon, Mark, at our gardens.
Nice.
Absolutely, Chad.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.